Okay, so you're going to look at me, okay? I've got some letters on some cards. Whenever I show you the letters, I want you to tell me the name of the letter and what sound it makes. So, for example, you would say P, P. Okay, can you do that for me? All right, go.
T, T, C, J, J, L, N, M, K, G, J,
Not J.
G,
G.
F, D, S, Z, Y, D, B, W, H, O, X,
What sounds X make? Good.
people.
Good job. Okay, so I just went over the consonant sounds with him, and he did have a little bit confusion with the G. But this does not mean that he needs to start at Sound Sensible. He's a third grade student, so this is a common mistake. So what I'm going to do on my notes under consonants, I'm going to put G confused with the J sound. So this is something I could do maybe as a mini lesson for him just to fix that. Now it'll tell you you're going to start right here with level 1 and you're going to go through the same cards. You're going to do it in order, start with the vowels, and then you'll move into level 2. So make sure that your flashcards are arranged in this order. If he doesn't know a sound, I'm just going to lay it to the side so I can mark it whenever he's complete. And once you see they start making several errors, so if he makes like 3 or 4 errors, I'm going to discontinue the test and move on. Okay, if you will go ahead and tell me the name of the letter and tell me what sound it makes, okay? Go.
A-N-I-O-I-E.
Good.
O-R-E-E-U-O. W-H-O.
Good.
T-H.
T-H.
The.
Good. Woo!
C-H. S-H. I-N-G. Ang.
Good.
I-N-G. Ang.
Good.
O-N-G. Ang. U-N-G. Ang.
Good.
A-N-K. Ang. I-N-K. Ang. O-N-K. Ang. U-N-K. Ang. F. F. L-L. S-S. A-L. Ow. W-A-Y. Q. O. Q. C. K. K. T. C. H. H.
Now, I'm going to stop the assessment there because he's starting to have some difficulty with some sounds. So, on my recording form, I'm going to put a check mark on all the letters that he knew. He did know the TH sound, but I had to correct him and ask him again, so I'm just going to make a side note here. And, see, he knew FF, LL. So whenever he got to AL, he started missing all of those sounds. So I can see right here, it looks like in level 2, he's having some difficulty here. He doesn't know these teams. He knows his vowels. So now, after this assessment is complete, I'm going to move on to the second step, and that's the reading steps. I'm going to turn to page 21. Let me reset up. And I'm going to set up my placement book for him. Brennan. I want you to read the words from left to right for me, okay? Read the first 3 rows. And while he's reading, I have it on my form, and it tells you to discontinue the test after 8 errors. So if he makes more than 8 errors, I'm going to stop the test. Okay, and if you can read them nice and loud for me, the first 3 rows, go ahead.
Had him, but, dot, led, lamb, fight, hun, got, man, cat, says, look, bot, set,
Good. Now, if you can go to the bottom of the page and read the last 3 rows.
tap,
Right here. Okay, the bottom 3.
pack, said, zook, zot, zoom, chad, wow, book, O's, lamb, ran, zam, coin, zook, seek.
So he made 5 errors. I can keep going. So I'm going to flip over to the next page. And this is going to get into words with blends. All right, if you will start off, and if you'll read the first 3 rows for me on your side of the paper. 1, 2, and 3, okay? Go.
Slam, slit, drum, must, went, toilet, trap, doyet, stop, jump, test, int, sent, sleep,
What's that word?
sling,
Right here. You're off track.
sent,
Sant.
sent,
Scent. Okay.
sleep, sling,
I can't hear you. You have to say a little bit louder.
slink,
Okay, keep going.
curl, was, went,
Okay, now I want you to go to the last 3 rows, and these are nonsense words. That means they're just made up words. If you'll start reading those for me.
tent, this, month, zent, class, class, go on,
What?
want, taught, sleek,
Okay, I'm gonna need you to speak louder, okay? Because
like,
whenever you start mumbling, that's when you start making mistakes. So sound the words out. You know how to do it.
like, yes, flop, slowing, Marty, like, going,
Green. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So he missed 7 here. I can keep going because it says do not discontinue until you get to 8 errors. Okay, now we're going to get into blends with SH, CH, TH, and WH. So, continue.
chip, chop, match,
What?
match,
Match.
with, chop, chin, bank, win, mish, chest, and wicks,
Okay, now if you'll go to the last 3 rows right here.
fish, ship, bank, ilk, bullish, launch, mark, win, shim, church, dance, witch.
So I have 7 errors there, so I can, it says discontinue. So he missed more than the requirement. So he missed right here. So I need to stop the test. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to look back at my results. And this is where you as a teacher have to make the best decision on where you can place the student. You do need to take into consideration where your other students are, how you're going to group them. It doesn't make sense for me to take one 3rd grader who is on lesson 6, and then another one who's on lesson 7. You know, I need to think of a happy medium to combine them there. But I see right here that I had to stop the test once we got to blends. So I'm going to look back at my recording form right here, and I made a note right here on number 8. Whenever he got to TH, he actually started having some trouble there. That's where I had to remind him again what sound does TH make. And then I see I had to actually discontinue the test whenever he got to blends. So if you look right here, he had the most errors under the TH section, which is also reflects back to whenever I gave it to him on the cards, he had the most problems with the TH. So that could be a good area for me to start spiral with. I could say, hey, he knows all of his vowels, but whenever he got to words with blends, he started having some difficulties. He also struggled a little bit, you can tell, with CVCC words. So he had a little bit of difficulty right here with these words as well. If you walk in and just go around that way, okay? Walk in and go around that way. So he has some difficulty with blends as well. So it sounds like he knows his vowels, but maybe we need to start with blends. So if I had a group of students, say I had 5 kids I assessed, and they all placed in different sections of Spiral 1. So say I have one child who knew his vowels. I had another child who only knows his consonant sounds. And knows no vowels. And then I have this student, he knows his consonants and he knows his vowels, but he has a hard time with blends and consonant teams. What I personally do, I would start them all at Spiral Level 1. And even if you have a child that places into Spiral Level 2, it's really good practice that you go over Spiral Level 1, so because if they do not know the rules in Spiral Level 1, if they do not know the rules in Spiral Level 2, they're going to have a really hard time keeping up, because Spiral is actually going to build on itself, the way you mark words and you decode words. So if you get a new student, you may want to just do like a run-through refresher with them. So I hope this helps. If you'll send me an email if you need more information on how to do this assessment. So this is an example on how to do a placement assessment for what level. So with this child, I would place him Spiral Level 1, and I would start at lesson 6, SH, where he goes over blends and consonant teams. Bye-bye.